I want to share with you, I take my students, coaching students and course students through this program, but I can do it real high level real quick for you. Take and realize that most people, they spend more time planning Christmas than they do designing their lives. Okay. So if you're listening to this, even if you've done your goals before, I highly recommend you do what I'm about to suggest to you. Pick an hour when you're uninterrupted and you're in a high energy state. I don't care if it's first thing in the morning or in the evening, whenever you have the most energy, sit down and do what I'm going to describe. It'll only take you an hour, and I promise you'll thank me. Sit down and write down everything you could ever possibly want in life. The big things, the boats, the planes, the cars, the houses, the motorcycles, the jet skis. Write down everything you could ever want. Then write down everything that you want to learn. I want to learn how to fly a helicopter. What do you want to learn? Write down everything you want to learn. Then, probably most importantly, write down who you want to help. I bought my parents a house down here in Port Charlotte on the water, and what who in your family do you want to do something for? Maybe you'd want to do something more for your community, help elderly, help children, help animals, whatever it is. Write it down. Everything you want to do, be, or have, big things, little things. Take the lid off your brain and imagine that if you write it down, you'll get it. And I will tell you, it's not outside the realm of possibility, because just the simple act of writing it down triggers something called your reticular activating system. And what that is, it's that filter in your brain that subconsciously identifies what's important to you. For example, right now, you're not thinking about how your feet feel, but your brain knows how they feel, and now you're thinking about how your feet feel. It's that thing that when you first buy a car, you never really notice them, and then you buy it and they're everywhere. Okay, yeah. That's your reticular activating system. So just the physical act of writing down the goals is a huge step in the right direction. All right, but then you've got to do a few more steps, and it just takes a minute. The next thing you want to do is first of all, make sure those goals are clear and measurable. Not, I'm going to lose a lot of weight. I'm going to lose 20 pounds by January 8th, okay? Which happens to be my birthday. That's why date popped up in my head. Anyway, so make them clear and measurable. And then put a time limit on each goal. Put a number, how many years it's going to take for you to achieve each goal. And by the way, let me back up for 1 second. Those of you that are analytical, don't sit and analyze what you're writing down. Just write them down. You can always scratch it out later as you're writing your goals. And don't let the pen leave the paper. When you're doing this, just write until you can't think of anything else, okay? All right, but now, then you put a time limit on each goal. 1, 3, 5, 10, 20. How many years it's going to take you to achieve it. Remembering that as human beings, we will overestimate what we can do in a year and massively underestimate what we can do in a decade. Okay, so remember that as you're going through this. Yeah. But then once you've put a time limit on each goal, circle your top 4 one-year goals. Okay, take those 4 goals and write them on a separate sheet of paper. Now, the most important part. Write down why each one of those goals is an absolute must. And use emotionally charged words, massive, incredible, amazing, so that I can, show my spouse what a success looks like, whatever it is, and write it down. Now, take it one little step further and put some pain in there if you don't achieve the goal. And make it painful so I don't feel like a failure, so I don't fail my family. Make it painful, because as human beings, we'll do more to avoid pain than gain pleasure. So put some pain in there if you don't achieve the goal. Then the last thing, go on Google, find some pictures that resonate with you for each of those goals. They don't have to be exact, but when you look at them, they kind of stir you. Go to Walgreens or CVS. You can have them blown up for like $8 and put them somewhere you're going to see them. I mean, guys, I just showed you my stuff. 90% of what I have in my book, I've gotten expensive stuff. So this stuff works. Trust me. It absolutely works. Because it's never the goal that drives you. It's why that goal is an absolute must that drives you. I had Grant Cardone on the show, who's awesome, 4,000 units. I mean, got his own jet. Guy's a rock star. At 10X. 10X. Now, I will say this. I think you have to I think the goals have to be kind of based in your concept of what you think you can really achieve. And I think for some people, 10Xing might make them think they're never going to do it. So that I'm disagree with him a little bit on that. I think some people can do it, but a lot of people, it has to be based in their version of their ceiling of what they can accomplish mentally, because it's all psychological. But the other thing is, he says, write your goals down morning and evening, which is fantastic. Yeah. However, he doesn't push on the why. And the why is really what's going to drive you. It's never the goal. I mean, reaching that goal, I will tell you, is typically a letdown.